Ladies and gentlemen, I want to welcome you back to the afternoon presentation, the afternoon show. I'm your master of ceremonies today, Jesse Dillon. I would like to jump right into this. A very exciting speaker. Had lunch together. She's amazing. You're going to love her. Heather White is a woman with drive. She possesses a unique background in athletics, sales, and psychology. As dissonant as her experiences might appear, she has used them to excel in life. And if you want to learn her secret, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome me and welcome Heather White. Come on down.
I don't know if I'm going to make it. I have a confession to make to begin with. My name is Heather White, and I am under the influence of Mastermind. Today is day 22. One more little confession. This talk was developed also under the influence of Mastermind. And when I was going through rehearsals this week, I was realizing, man, I sure packed a lot of content into 40 minutes. So I promise not to talk fast, although I am a fast talker. But I'm so excited to be in this room with you guys. What an amazing group. I was here last night, had a chance to hear what was going on there, and I was here this morning. And I take my hat off to you because I know I'm in a group of my people, right? They say your vibe attracts your tribe, right? Yes, great. I had about 10 of you stand up. My goal is to have the whole room standing up by the end. So let me first and foremost begin with a little story. It was 2010. It was 3 o'clock in the morning. I was on holidays in Palm Springs. And I was doing what I always do at 3 o'clock in the morning. Any guesses? Yes, sleeping, fast asleep. Sleep is one of my superpowers. And I'm fast asleep. That is until there's this voice that starts nagging me in my sleep. It's saying, Heather, Heather, it's time to wake up. It's time to wake up. And I'm arguing with this voice in my subconscious. Anybody ever argue with their dreams? I'm not the only crazy person in here. And I'm saying, and I vividly remember saying, I don't want to wake up. I'm so comfortable. Which I think was a little preview of life's coming attractions. So I'm arguing back and forth, back and forth. I don't want to wake up, wake up, wake up. It's time to wake up, it's time to wake up. Finally, I said, okay, fine, I'm up. Something in my consciousness snapped and I woke up. But keep in mind, I'm on holidays. I'm in kind of a foreign room, right? And I notice the clock, and it's like 3:12 a.m. or 3:38 or some a.m., something like this. And I'm noticing the a.m. on the clock. It's like flashing at me, a.m., a.m., a.m. And I keep a journal beside my bed because, I really believe the wisdom comes through us, not from us. Anybody ever have one of those great ideas right before they fell asleep? And in the morning, you remembered it exactly like that, right? Right? No. Maybe under the Mastermind formula, to be determined. So I'm a huge proponent of keeping that journal by your bed, and I'll even force myself, if it isn't by my bed, to get up because it never sounds the same in the morning. I don't know if it's the theta brainwaves or what's going on, but we have that stroke of genius that comes through us, and if you don't capture it, guess where it goes? Through you. Gone, right? Never to be found again. So I get up and I grab my journal and I flick it on and I open and I write down 3 a.m., time to wake up, 3 a.m., a.m., a.m. And then these words come to me, authentically me. And then comes something else. Who you want to be is who you already are. Who you want to be is who you already are. That sounds kind of cool. All right, great. And I'm sort of waiting, is there any more wisdom coming through? Because it is 3 a.m. after all. I'd like to go back to sleep. Nothing seems to come. Go back to bed. Great. Wake up the next morning, and I thought, God, that was kind of weird. I read it again. Who you want to be is who you already are. But I'm on holidays, right? So I'm going to relax for a couple more days, and I can't seem to get it out of my mind. Who you want to be is who you already are. And I start to play with this idea, and it starts to become a bit of a mantra for me, and I take it back to my practice with my clients, and I start to think, what if that were true? What if that were true? And it started to remind me of Michelangelo. Michelangelo used to go to the quarry. He talked about he'd go to the quarry and he'd get a piece of marble. And he saw it as his role not to create a statue, but to remove all of the excess stuff that was in the way from us being able to see the statue that was always within the marble. You guys have heard about this before, right? And so I'm thinking, well, that's kind of the idea here. What if it was my job, what if my role in life was to get rid of all the excess stuff that was in the way of this authentic expression coming through to the surface of my life? And this became my practice. And my favorite definition of authenticity comes from the author Sarah von Brethnich, and she says the authentic self is the soul made visible. Soul, a 4-letter word to describe probably one of the most vast concepts that we try to understand as human beings, yes? Anybody ever ask themselves, what is soul? Am I a soul? What does that mean? You know, Oprah asks every single guest on her Super Soul Sunday, any Super Soulers in here? Oh, only a few of us, okay. She asks every single person that comes on her Super Soul Sunday episode, what is soul? And they all say something slightly different, right? The light, the truth, the eternal, the immortal. Right? Gary Zukav, the author, talks about it being the most noble pursuit of your human life to be able to bring that to the surface. And so this became my practice, the idea of this authentic truth, light part of myself to be made room for it to come to the surface by getting rid of all the stuff that no longer serve me. This sounds really great, right? Like fairies and rainbows and unicorns and butterflies, right? Let's do this. Authentic me, woo! What I didn't realize at the time was that this was probably going to be one of the most difficult and often excruciating journeys of my life, right? Because authenticity, living in a way that is authentic, is incredibly ruthless. Isn't it? I know I'm in a room of authentic people. I know it because you wouldn't be sitting here if you hadn't already answered those calls that have come forward in your life. Yes? We're after lunch. Maybe just try that one more time. Yes? Yes! Yes! Okay. Great. Just making sure we're all still awake. I tried to avoid the carbs at lunch so that I would be full of energy up here as well. So it's excruciatingly difficult. I didn't realize what it was going to ask of me. The choices, the decisions, right? This is not easy work. And yet, even though, and I have found little cul-de-sacs to hide from this energetic force that I somehow agreed to sort of half unknowingly at 3 o'clock in the morning in the California desert, you can sort of hide from it. I call it like a cul-de-sac. You seem to get away from it for a little while and you go back to living like, okay, this is good, I think I lost it. I think I lost it. And then like a beach ball that pops out of water, it comes again. It's like, oh shit, there it is again. Authentic living. I said yes to something. I didn't even know what I was saying yes to at the time. But yet there was this other side of me, and I think you guys can relate to this. It's like a part of me that knows this is the right path. This is the path towards mastery. The authentic way is the only way that we truly want to live. This is the path of success. And not just like material success, possession, etc., but success like in the way Earl Nightingale defines success. He used to say success is the progressive realization of a worthy ideal. Ideal, an idea that you have fallen in love with. I fell in love with that idea that inside every single one of us is something unique and authentic, and that if we don't give the permission slip to ourselves, agree to the often excruciating work, I said love, not like, right? To bring it to the surface of our lives, it's lost, because we all have our unique, authentic expression. Nobody can do what you can do. And so this is the bedrock of my life's work. This idea that I love and don't always like. This idea that inside every single one of us is a unique and authentic expression. And it is our job to learn the unique karmic lessons that are laid out in front of each and every one of us, because they're all unique. I can't do it for you, and you can't do it for me. Damn it, eh? Wouldn't that be nice if somebody could do your stuff for you? But the best thing you can do for me is work on you. And the best thing I can do for you is not touch that microphone again, is work on me, right? You know that saying, a peaceful man lives in a peaceful universe? One man, human, right? We got to work on us. And so today, I titled my talk, I'm going to play with this thing, I hope it works. Oh, we're back. Ah, ta-da! Oh, let me go back. I'm just working with this, getting used to this. There we go. I called it Master Your Life for a reason. What you won't see on this slide is I actually have life as an acronym. But first of all, I call it Master, which sounds like, oh, come to me, I'll tell you how to master your life, right? No, I use the word master very purposefully. I learned about mastery when I was first training in martial arts. And the first thing you learn in martial arts, and basically in any true pursuit of mastery in life, is that you must always show up as a beginner. You know, Bruce Lee used to say, a cup is only useful if it's empty, right? And so as much as I'm standing up here, and you guys are sitting down there, let me reassure you, I am here as much of as a student as I am as a teacher. And I firmly believe that we teach what we most want to learn in life. And so I'm with you. I might be slightly elevated by this stage, but I want to remind you I'm here as a beginner to learn and to grow, just like you. But I will also tell you, and you guys know this, right? Nothing happens unless we are willing to get out of what is comfortable for us. Rod talked about it last night. How many of you guys didn't know you were going to be here until last night? Anybody? Yeah, right on, man. Awesome. And he talked about, I hope it's a little bit uncomfortable for you to be here, right? You had to cancel your brunch plans or whatever it might have been. And that's life. Life is a complete classroom. And every day we're learning, but no learning occurs if we're not willing to get uncomfortable. I know this is not the first time you've heard this. Eleanor Roosevelt used to say, do one thing every day that scares you. Now let me just clarify what I think. Oh, I forgot, sorry. Slow learner, mastermind, kick it. One thing every day that scares you, but I'm a little gentler than that. I don't think you need to traumatize yourself. But do things every day that just dip your toe ever so slightly outside of that place where you're comfortable, right? 1 and 2 degree shifts over time take you to completely different results in your life. As much as I love quantum leaps, I also am a firm believer in small incremental shifts. So today I come to you to share some lessons. And I call life an acronym because I like to keep myself humored. I think humor is an important part of this journey, right? There's a great picture, if you haven't seen it, it's 2 adults dressed up in teddy bear spacesuits and they're skateboarding down a steep hill. And the caption is, "Stop taking life so seriously. It's not like we're getting out of here alive." And so I remind myself life is an acronym. It's lessons in, I will not repeat that word, everything. Every day there's something else, right? And we all have this unique curriculum lined up in front of us. As I said earlier, I can't do it for you, and you can't do it for me. But if you can learn and grow through the experiences of understanding what's unfolding in your own life, your life goes to a completely new place. And so I really wanted to come and share some things with you today about that. So let me begin. First lesson, the time is now. Now, I will say, I have license to brag about all of these ideas because none of them are mine, right? None of this is mine. This didn't come from me, this came through me, and for the most part, this is gonna be universal. You're gonna have heard these messages before. What I can share with you is my unique lens, the way that it affected me. Right? And you're not going to take every single thing, but you just take the nuggets, right? The things that shift for you, that resonate with you, that vibrate in harmony with your conscious awareness, that dip your toe a little bit to the outside of what is comfortable and what has been comfortable so that you can have an opportunity to expand today. But I learned this lesson viscerally. In 2003, I had just graduated from university, and I went to visit my parents, my mom and my stepdad. They'd just done a 6-figure renovation on their house. They were so proud. They were so cute. They were sitting in their kitchen. They had built this custom island. It had refrigerated drawers. They were pumped. And my parents were big coffee drinkers their whole life. They were these kinds of crazy people that had a coffee at 11 o'clock at night and then went to bed. Anybody in here do that? How do you guys do that? If I have a coffee after 11 a.m., I can't sleep. So this was who they were. They often added chocolate too, and they could still go to bed half an hour later and pass out. It was a superpower, I think. But I'll never forget this moment where the little hairs stood up on the back of my neck. Anybody ever had that moment where the hairs stand up on the back of your neck? When Alvin said these words, he said, "Yeah, I'm not drinking coffee anymore." And I said, "What? That's your thing. You drink coffee." He doesn't drink. He was Chinese. He didn't have that enzyme for the alcohol. So coffee, this is his thing. He says, "Yeah, I'm not drinking coffee anymore. It doesn't agree with my system." All right. So that it just had a little zest to it. That I had a little energy pull when he said that. But, rational mind kicks in. You carry on, and away you go. A few weeks later, my mom says to me, "There's something really wrong with Dad. He's really sick. They think he has diverticulitis, bacteria in your colon. They've given him some antibiotics, but he's been on the antibiotics for a week, and nothing's changing, nothing's happening." And my girlfriend works at the university hospital, so I think I'm going to take him in there and see if we can get a second opinion. So fast forward, there definitely was something wrong. Right away, they performed a bunch of tests and ultrasounds and found that there certainly looked like there were some tumors, likely cancerous, in his abdominal cavity. And so they rushed him to VGH and decided they're going to perform abdominal surgery and try to remove some of these tumors. Now, he's 42 years old, otherwise healthy, one of these, zest for life types of people, 6'2", over 200 pounds, just an energy ball. And I remember they, pre-op that day, we chatted with him, and he was so optimistic. He's like, "I got this," right? Just no problem. They're going to take a couple tumors out. It's all going to be good to go. I went to the gym, because that's what you do when you can't sit, right? Go do something. Went to the gym, came back, post-op. I'm sitting in the post-op recovery waiting room with my mom. It's just me and my mom. And the doctor comes in and he says, "Can I see you guys in my office?" Little hair stand up in the back of your neck again. I just knew something is wrong. This is not good. And so go into the office, meet with the doctor, and the doctor says, "Listen, guys, I don't have good news for you." We opened him up. We took out a half a dozen tumors. And he said it didn't even touch the surface. He said, "Imagine I took a salt shaker full of cancerous tumors and I just sprinkled it all over his abdominal cavity. That's what we're dealing with. That's what we're dealing with." And he said, "I want to be honest with you. I want to be blunt. He doesn't have a lot of time. If I were you, I would get your affairs in order. My estimation is he has about 4 months to live." Now, if you've ever been in the room when somebody is told that they have a terminal illness and that they have 4 months to live, right? I can feel it right now. It is like you can taste the air. Right? Yes, everything about you stops and recognizes this is the present moment. That is what it feels like. We all practice, we all meditate, we all have our mindful practices to try to experience the visceralness of that present moment. That brought me there. And that taught me, he lasted 6 months, and we all learned an incredible amount through that experience as a family. You never wish suffering on yourself or others, but when it does come into your life, it expands you in ways that you can't even imagine. And though he's not physically with us today, his legacy is always with us. And what I always remember and I always think about is that the time is now. And it has influenced me in so many ways. I make decisions quickly. I say yes. I walk forward because I know. I sat in that room. I was 22 years old. He was 42 years old. And I thought, holy shit, I could be gone like that. We don't know, right? Going back to the teddy bears, we ain't getting out of here alive. That we know, right? How long we have, we don't know. So the time is now. Second is, once in a while, blow your own damn mind, right? The rational mind is a wonderful, wonderful servant, terrible master. Yes? Right? Isn't it? It's limited. It doesn't know. So my two younger brothers are 9 and 10 years younger than me, and they're half Chinese. So part of my job growing up was to babysit them after school. And on Tuesdays and Thursdays, they had martial arts training. And they looked just adorable. And they're little white geese, and they're kicking above their head, and they're all flexible. And I'd sit at the back of the dojo, and I'd observe them and watch them and dote over them, and I just adored them. And Master Lee was the instructor. And he would say, "Heather, come on. You got to train with us. What are you doing? You're sitting here every day," right? And then I would say to him, "Come on, look at me. I'm tall, I'm lanky, I'm of Scottish descent, I'm unflexible, trust me. And this battle ensued, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, until one day I said, okay, fine, you win, I'll do it. And so I start training with them. And I start getting better. I start realizing, well, wait a second here, actually, maybe I'm not as unflexible as I thought. Maybe flexibility is still possible in my life. I was 13 years old, already limiting myself, right? And I'm advancing. You know, I got my yellow belt, and my orange belt, and then my purple belt, and then my green belt, and then my blue belt, and then my brown belt. And then Master Lee comes to me one day and he says, Heather, I've been selected to coach the national team for Canadian Sport Jiu-Jitsu. The Tiger Bomb International Sport Jiu-Jitsu tournament is coming to Canada. They've selected me to coach the team. I think you should try out. And of course I said, come on. This has all been fun and games and everything, and I know I've learned a lot, thank you very much, but national team, you're kidding, right? Well, I did find myself trying out for that team. I did make that team. I did attend the Canadian International the World Championships. I received a silver medal, but that is not the best thing that taught me. What that experience taught me was that we have no idea what we're truly capable of if we listen to our rational minds. Yes? Am I alone? Woo! True? Right? Your job is to blow your mind. Every day you have to step beyond what you thought was possible for you, because otherwise you won't even realize how infinitely capable you truly are. And don't worry, okay, because you are hardwired to have desires in certain directions, and your life will unfold in certain directions. If you're not meant to be a ballerina, that's not going to come up, so don't worry. Life will unfold in the direction of your soul's desire to expand. I won't do that again either, okay? But you got to blow your mind. You have to. Ask better questions. You know, Tony Robbins is famous for this one, right? He says the quality of the questions you ask yourself will determine the quality of your life. You ever heard him say that? Right? So I'm sitting in an audience. It's kind of like this. And speaker takes the stage. I'm excited. My client has invited me to attend this conference with her. And we're in the VIP section of seating, so this is very exciting. And it's Jack Canfield. How many of you guys know Jack Canfield? Yes. If you don't know him, he's probably most famous for his Chicken Soup for the Soul series. Thank you, yes. He's also a personal development guru. He has a self-esteem personal development company. He's got the success principles. He travels all over the world. Fabulous speaker if you haven't had a chance to hear him. And he gets on stage and he says, so, let me guess. You had a shitty childhood. And I'm like, was I pre-screened for this event? I think now my wheels are turning, right? How does my client know that? Oh my gosh, why am right? Because yeah, I did. I had the divorced parents and the broken home and the blended family, right? And I had the very, very visceral negative experiences with certain things. We don't need to get into that, right? Yeah, definitely had the crappy childhood thing. So I'm kind of like, so then I start getting a little excited. I'm thinking, great, finally, right? Somebody's going to validate my experiences. Yeah, woo, shitty childhoods, we're here. And then he says, so, tell me, what are you going to do about that now? And I'm like, damn it. Why did I sit in the front? And then he went on to give a lecture about responsibility, and I learned something that day. Responsibility doesn't mean it's your fault. I don't know about you, but that was a big one for me. Taking 100% responsibility for your life. I'd heard that before, right? That doesn't mean your life was your fault. What it means is you have the ability to respond. Responsibility is your ability to respond. It is one of them. Woo, thank you, yes. Not mine, not my idea, just sharing, right? But it was a pivotal moment for me in my life, and it became a power question that has served me and served the hundreds of clients that I've had the pleasure and honor of working with when I ask, what is your ability to respond? right? You ask good questions, you get good answers. I've made a career out of helping people see things from a different point of view, right? When you learn to ask better questions, you start to get better answers. Your brain is amazing, right? It's amazing. You ask it a question, it starts to generate answers. When you go to sleep, your subconscious starts to generate answers. You're asking crappy questions, you're getting crappy answers, right? So we have to ask good questions of our life. What is my ability to respond? Why is this happening for me? Right? And sometimes your ability to respond is just to be mad for a minute. Okay, so just so we know, I'm not Pollyanna up here forgetting that we have human responses and emotions to things. Yeah, your ability to respond is to feel the anger, let it pass through you like a weather storm, right? Because this too shall pass. I don't think I should be over there either, right? And then you get to go from there. Life begins in your imagination. You've heard this before. Everything happens twice in life, right? First in somebody's mind, and then on the screen, right? Yes? Am I the only one who's ever heard that? Yes? Good. Right on. You know, as teachers and students of this content, you know there's always that part of us that is always like, are you sure you believe in this stuff? Am I the only person who sometimes questions that? Right? And this is like our ultimate practice, right? Are you sure you believe in your work? And doesn't our life go a lot better when we practice what we preach? So I'm in the float tank. How many of you guys are familiar with float tanks, sensory deprivation? As an athlete, for visualization, I find this like an incredible tool. And my sport of choice today is golf. Any golfers? Woo, why do we torture ourselves with that sport, right? I live with a pro, so it was like either beat him or join him. So I beat him. Thank God for handicaps, right? In golf, I mean. So I'm in the float tank. I'm preparing for a tournament. It's the Chilliwack Ladies Amateur. And so one of the things I do in the float tank in preparation for a tournament is I go through my round. So I've done a couple of practice rounds by this point. I know the course quite well. And so I'll play the round in my mind in the float tank. And so I'm visualizing the round, and I get to the 6th hole. And it's a short par 4, and I know I'm going to hit 5 wood off the tee because I know that's all I need to hit. And in my first practice round, I hit pitching wedge. It's long, too much. So wedge is probably going to be enough. So I'm in the fairway. This is in my mind, of course, and I decide I'm going to hit wedge. It's only 85 yards up the hill. I know it will clear the bunker, no problem. And if I'm short, it's fine. I'll have an uphill putt, easy putt for birdie. Par at worst, I'm out of there. Great. Sounds like a good plan. And then something, I'm thinking, you know, this is a short shot. I threw a dart in my second practice round to a couple feet for a tap-in birdie. Why don't I just hole it out? Just hole it out from the fairway for eagle. Sounds good. So I visualize holding it out in the fairway for eagle. And because I'm in visualization, I have an omnipresent awareness, and I see it go in the hole, and it was exciting. And I carry on and do the rest of the round in my mind, enjoy the rest of the float, go to bed, wake up, drive out to the tournament. And in golf, you have to be present, because if you're not, you'll know. It's like an instant feedback machine. And so I'm playing my round, and as it turns out, it's a shotgun, so I have to start on the 5th hole. The 5th hole's a par 5. I hit a terrible drive. I'm full of adrenaline. I'm shaking. I'm just happy to make contact with the ball. It went somewhat forward, slightly in the wrong direction, but I can recover from here. Hit it back to the fairway. Things are good, okay. A lot of adrenaline going. Overshoot the green with my 3rd shot. Overclub myself. Chip up. 3-putt. Make double. Start of the tournament, right? But I've been in enough tournaments to know 1 hole at a 36-hole tournament, no big deal. Anybody can recover from this. Step on the next hole. It's that hole, 6th hole. I don't think anything of it. Literally, I'm in the moment. I hit 5 wood exactly where I planned to hit it, middle of the fairway, perfect. Get up to my ball, measure my yardage. I got 87 yards, but I know I'm pumped up with the adrenaline, so I still agree wedge is the play. Pitching wedge, but it's an elevated green. You can't see it from the fairway. Pitching wedge, hit wedge, and with my playing partners, whatever, and I hear some reaction coming from the 8th green. And I hear a woman yell, "It went in." That was my reaction too. What? Right, it went in. And I thought, holy shit. This stuff works. Right? Because we do question it sometimes. It's part of being human. Your imagination is extremely powerful. right? You deposit images on the screen of your mind. You become emotionally involved. It's important that you have emotional involvement, right? And I don't need to tell anybody in this room why, right? It's got to matter to you. But this shit works. Try it. Growth is uncomfortable. It is uncomfortable, and it's supposed to be. It's because you're letting go. Remember the shedding, right? You're letting go of who you were. And that part of you doesn't always want to go easily. Agree? Anybody ever have trouble letting part of themselves go? But that was so comfortable. I loved it like that. Why? Right? So I have a great little story that illustrates this. There's this little boy, William. Anybody ever have little kids in here? Yeah? So he's 5 years old. And he finds a caterpillar in the garden. And he brings it into his mom and he says, oh my gosh, look at this. I found a caterpillar. It's amazing. And he's so excited. He says, can I keep it? Can I keep it? Can I keep it? Can I keep it? I'm an auntie, so I can't resist that. I know I could get some schooling from parents about how to resist that urge. But she agrees, yes, on a few conditions you can keep the caterpillar, right? You have to research and figure out what type of habitat does it need, what food, what's going to allow it to thrive. So together they figure all these details out. Turns out big mason jar, a little bit of soil in the bottom, some grass and leaves are fine. It actually doesn't need water because it gets enough hydration through the grass and plants. And some sticks, right? Because caterpillars at some point are going to hang on things. And so one day, after loving up this caterpillar for weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks, he notices something's wrong. Caterpillar's hanging on the tree. It's all white. What's going on? Brings it to his mom. His mom recognizes what's going on. We all know what's going on, right? Caterpillar's building a cocoon. She tells him the story about what's going to happen. And you can imagine to a 5-year-old what that would be like, right? That inside of this white cocoon is the caterpillar that he knew, and this magic's going to happen, and out's going to come a butterfly, right? And they just see the magic, right? We could learn a lot from them. And so he's watching every day, he's excited, he can't wait, and sure enough, he starts to notice a little hole starts to open up, right? Oh my God, it's happening. And he can see it's not the caterpillar, right? So it's really happening. This is so cool. But he starts to realize, gosh, it seems like he's really struggling in there, right? It's not easy to get out of that little tiny hole. So what does he do? He goes and gets some scissors. I guess you guys know this story. And he opens it a little bit bigger. He doesn't open it the whole way, just a little bit bigger. Give him a chance, right, to get through. And sure enough, out drops this sort of weird-looking creature. It's got this big swollen body, these kind of shriveled up wings. This does not look like the caterpillar that my mom showed me on Google Images. It's kind of wet, and it sort of walks around the mason jar. Something's wrong, right? This does not look like what I saw. And so he says to his mom, what's going on here? This is wrong, I don't get it. And his mom takes him to the university to meet with one of the scientists. And the scientist, she actually doesn't know about the hole cutting with the scissors. The scientist explains, once he starts to hear the story, okay, I see what's gone wrong here. And he explains to the little boy, actually, during that process, when that little tiny hole opens, and the butterfly begins to struggle to get out of that little hole, it's an incredibly important part of the transformative process. Because what's happening is all the fluid that's built up in the old caterpillar's body that's transforming into a much smaller butterfly body needs to be flushed out in order to make the wings. And so, what is the moral of our story? We don't wish suffering on our life, of course not. We don't want to struggle, but when it shows up, remember, it is there to help you build the wings you will need so that you can fly. All right, audience participation. Nobody's falling asleep, are they? All right, woo, great. What is this a picture of? Skull, yeah? Somebody said something over there? Skull? Anybody brave? Stand up. Do you mind? You guys can talk amongst yourselves. Who's bravest? What's your name? Sarah. Give Sarah a round of applause. Woo! Brave Sarah. Sarah, what is this? Skull. This is a skull. Do you mind coming up and helping me out with something? Thank you. Clap it up for Sarah. While Sarah's coming up here, can I just see a show of hands? How many of you agree this is a skull? Okay, yeah. Okay, we got a few. Okay, Sarah, by answer of yes or no, is this a skull?
Oh, it's not a skull.
Oh, it's not a skull. Okay, quickly, by a show of hands, yes or no, is this a skull? Not everybody trusts you, Sarah.
Not a skull. Sorry.
Not everybody trusts you. Is this actually quite a beautiful picture?
It's gorgeous.
And what is this a picture of?
It's a lady looking in a mirror, and the mirror is in the shape of what you...
Oh, thank you, Sarah. Really appreciate it. Round of applause for Sarah. You guys can come and see for yourself after. I do appreciate those of you who refuse to believe Sarah. You had to come check for yourself, right? And that's my point, right? What we see depends on the point of view we look at things from. And again, the brain is amazing, but what we don't realize is we often don't see what is there. We see what we think is there, right? We actually see a recollection of what the neural pathways that are already developed saw the last time we saw an image like that. Your brain recalls and says, oh, that's a skull. I know that, yeah, skull. It's incredibly efficient, right? But that can let us down if we're not careful. Why is this relevant to our lives? We got to check things out. And why is this specifically relevant for you guys? Because you have to recognize everybody sees things depending on their point of view. You all have incredible knowledge and education about the products that you're representing, yeah? But you're going to go talk to people that are going to have no idea what you're talking about, right? And so your job is to help them get nice and close, right? So that their own point of view can be shifted so that they can see what is really there, right? Not what they think is there, right? Oh, this is a pyramid scheme? Oh, no! Right? Just remember the skull. That's what they're seeing, okay? Come closer, my friend. Let me help you see more clearly, right? It's crucial for us to remember, right? We have to get up close and personal. Check it out, right? Don't rely on what you think is there because your brain, God love it, it is limited. Your mind is limited in its capacity from its programming, not limited in any other way, right? And we have to retrain it to see what's really there. I hesitated. I was actually going to change my whole deck after listening to Rod last night about the lottery, right? What is it, 1 in 16 million chance you're going to win the lottery? I thought, oh God, I should probably take that slide out. But what this is really about, I learned this from my father-in-law, and he actually was referencing the lottery when he used to say this to me, right? Because we'd always have these debates about the lottery, and he'd say, well, bottom line, you can't win if you don't buy a ticket, right? But what I took away from that was, we can't win if we're not in the arena. Right? We can't win if we don't have the proverbial ticket. We still have to show up, right? And say yes. And that's really what you're inviting everybody to do in your life, right? Is to buy the ticket to get closer, to see and look and see what's really there. Motivation comes from action. I've learned this, all right? Yes, agree? Anybody ever found themselves saying, well, if I was just motivated, right? Or I wish I was motivated to do X, right? Motivation's like a wave. It's an energy. You have to catch it, right? You have to paddle into motivation. It comes from action. Emerson used to say something really profound. He said, do the thing, and you will get the energy to do the thing. What does that mean? Right? Do the thing, and you will get the energy to do the thing. We have to come into vibrational alignment with the energy that is motivation, right? It's not going to come pick you up. It's not a black car service, right? You have to get into the energetic flow that is motivation. So you got to do the thing. But there's another saying I love, and that is that you only have to do something until you want to do something, and then you don't have to do it anymore. And that's the idea here. So when you just get yourself into motion, get yourself taking enough steps, you will come into contact with that which is motivation. And you will not be able to help it because you will want to do it. Yeah? Alrighty, last one. Here's what it all comes down to for me. expansion. You know that soul inside of all of us, that authentic version that our job is to dust away? Why is our job to dust it away? Because life is for fuller expansion and expression. When you start to create space for that part of you to come through, it is part of the natural universe. We live in an ever-expanding and evolving universe. We are naturally part of it. We cannot help it. If we try to help it, what happens? We suffer. Or we kill the butterfly. Yeah, exactly, right? We can't help but expand. That's what it all comes down to. And so I have another acronym for life that I'd like to leave you with. Right? The first one was lessons in. We'll just keep that one amongst ourselves, right? But you know, I really do believe that inside every single one of you is a unique contribution that only you can make. Right? Only you. That's a really powerful idea. And that is your authentic expression, seeking its way out through the surface of your life. And so life is lessons, lessons for us to uncover who we really are so that we can live inspired, forever expanding. You guys have been amazing. Thank you so much.